Hello, and welcome to our September Simple Farms LLC podcast. I'm Lori Boyer. I am joined by the owner, founder, creator of Simple Farms LLC, and of course, our owner of Scheimer Farms in East Central Colorado, out near Cheyenne Wells. We like to kind of intertwine discussion on the app and how that can help a farmer and why it's such a great tool, a great margin analysis tool, but also, of course, talk about and educate people on things going on the farm. And the reason I know that's important, Scott, is because I had a comment here, a few days or weeks ago. It feels like just yesterday, but they were talking about how they like listening in because they like to know what's going on your farm.
Well, that's cool. It's kind of scary what's going on our farm. It makes everybody else feel good about their operation, I guess.
Well, he was someone who left the industry, but really likes to know what's going on. And he feels like he's a part. We've been doing this long enough that some of our loyal listeners feel like they are a part of your operation.
Oh, that's cool. That's very neat. I appreciate that. And, you and I kind of talked about this when we first decided to pivot on how we promote Simple Farms is more of tell our story as well from our operation and our perspective. And so it's neat. It's neat that people are interested in that.
Well, I feel pretty invested myself here, Scott.
Well, if we can add any kind of harvest this year, we need your help out here. We need a driver.
Oh, I would love to. I would love to put my radio thing on hold and come be your driver. And that being said, it's an active time of the year here as we had a little bit of a lull, at least in this neck of the woods, just kind of maybe a week and a half, just kind of getting things ready. And now we're going to town with silage and wheat drilling over here in Northeast Colorado.
Yeah, here we thought we were going to have a lull and we had a couple little just rogue showers caught us off guard, and all of a sudden fields have been pretty dry. The weed population tried to explode on us right last minute before wheat drilling. So it was a mad rush to clean up fields again, get the grasses under control and the bindweed. And yeah, we're in the same boat. We just finished laying millet down. And so we're picking the millet up and drilling wheat. A little early for us, but we are really chasing the moisture. The forecast doesn't look very promising. So I haven't drilled this early in probably 15 years. We usually like to be a little later, but we've sure paid the price the last couple of years doing that. So we are drilling. It seems like each day, every other day, we're having to set the drill one shim deeper, try and hit that moisture. It's a race with the moisture, get that seed in. I have some neighbors, their wheat's already poking out of the ground.
Is that right? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah, yeah, a little early, but it might be the right decision. So you never know this industry.
I sure hope it is. I'm starting to see a lot of the drilling going on as well. I've had lots of conversations, and my husband, who works for John Deere, lots of conversations on a lot of folks are actually going to wait and see if we get some moisture before they plant.
Yeah, I've been in that boat. I guess the thing is we've got a very small drill with a lot of acres to cover, so it'll take us multiple weeks to get everything done. So I joke somewhere in that path will be the right decision. I don't know when. I do have some neighbors, they're sitting and waiting, and they got large machinery and they get things done in a hurry. And others, their wheat's up. Here we go. And it looks like there'll be some corn being picked here in the next couple of weeks. Not very good quality, just burned up fields, but I think there's some acres that will get picked here pretty soon.
That is what I am hearing as well, Scott. On your millet, how does it look?
Oh, it's all over the board. Yeah, I think it's like everything else. We've got some fields that look pretty good and fields that we absolutely did abandon. Excellent stands, but it was so short we couldn't even swath and windrow it to pick it up. We tried a flex head to cut it. That didn't work. We tried stripper heads. That didn't work. So we've tried a little bit of everything and ended up abandoning some millet fields that look beautiful, but the millet's only ankle high, fully headed out.
And do you do any silage?
No, no, we don't do it. We're too far from any feed yard that's justifiable for us to haul that far.
Well, that makes sense then. Okay.
Yeah.
What about hay, Scott? I don't think we've ever talked about that. Do you raise any hay?
We dabble on the hay. It's been quite a while, but actually we took our rye off a circle and went right back in and put a millet feed on it and went ahead and let the volunteer rye go along with the millet feed. And we had stripper cut that rye. So we have waist high straw out there. And we will actually next week, we'll shut off the pivot this week and next week lay it down. And we have a lot of interested parties in the hay. So we just had a discussion of how many bales per acre the guys think we can get. We're from 2 bales to 6 bales. I guess we'll see. It looks really good.
Sounds like an office pool bet going on there.
It usually is. There's always something being bet on at the office.
Scott, when you mentioned that you had some interest in your hay, who is looking to buy it?
We're kind of in a donut. We've had a lot of people come visit us down here in Cheyenne Wells and go, "Holy cow, you really are dry." Just south of Burlington, they still look pretty good. And then you get to about our county line, and we are an extremely dry pocket. So a lot of my peers and neighbors have been feeding cattle for almost a month just to keep them going before their stocks are available. So there's a big need for hay just right here in our backyard.
All right. What else? Any other crops to mention?
Actually, Jim is harvesting our shrimp. So we are cleaning the shrimp tanks out. So it's the big shrimp harvest today. We're going to go through the winter without running the shrimp tank. So kind of today's the shutdown day after we get them harvested out. It takes so much energy to keep it warm in the winter. And we're insulating everything, but just not to a point that's justifiable. So big shrimp harvest today. Kind of excited. There'll be some monsters in there.
Wow. You have to take some pictures so we can see.
Oh, absolutely. And Julia, I'm sure will post them on cwshrimp.shop and can be seen there. We'll have lots of document on that end. We won't feed them through the winter. We'll try and start up again in the spring.
Just a quick question out of curiosity, Scott, how do you clean the tanks?
Actually, all what I mean is just get all the shrimp out of them. When we get a little time here this fall, we'll actually pull all the affluent water out. So we'll drain the tanks at that point after we get all the shrimp out. And we're going to go spread the affluent water on one of the fields right here by home. So we'll kind of mark it and see what it does to the crop the next year. We'll rinse them out, and then we'll just start with fresh water the next year. We found that the biofloc with our bacteria takes off within about 3 weeks to a month. Pretty quickly, the biofloc builds back up in the system. So
I learn something new about shrimp every time I talk to you.
I'm learning too, Lori.
I didn't know if you had to, I just wondered if there were any protocols or anything like that that you had to follow in order to prevent disease from spreading next time you put shrimp in there.
Not that we're aware of. Not that we're aware of. We're not that scientific with it, and they seem to have a good survival rate in there. So it'd be fun to do something with the affluent water. We'll take some of it and put it in our quote unquote orchard, which is pretty much all died. I think our soil's too hot. So we're going to actually do some scientific soil testing and make some decisions on how to get that going again.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'll check back with you on that. So all these things we've talked about a variety. You're very diversified if we didn't already know, but all these things can be tracked in that Simple Farms LLC app, the margin analysis tool. So for each one of those things that we mentioned, say hay and millet and wheat, there's a category for each one, correct?
That's correct. The program itself basically gets to the end and tells you where you need to be marketing that commodity at that commodity's market price. So each analysis is set up for those specific ones. So corn, the corn, we can look at the whole farm with the corn crop, or we can break it out and look at an analysis with one specific landlord based on our lease structure or our insurance structure. And it's just a matter of check marking all those operations out of that field and putting them in a different analysis to look at it in different ways. So yeah, very easily movable, trackable to look at each way we want to look at how we've done each operation.
Let me ask you this, Scott. When you are inside the app and you're trying to decide what you're going to market your crop at, is there a comparable basis or anything in there that indicates what the market price is currently?
Yeah, I think the best way to look at it is Simple Farms is just one tool in your toolbox on your operation. So for us, we've used marketing services that track all our contracts, and we do a lot of it on spreadsheets still with us. So that's how we track. So like we'll contract 2 years out, and we'll contract 50 contracts, on our wheat throughout the 2 years. And so we're just tracking that on the spreadsheet, and then we plug that in. So like the hay, right now we're outbidding this hay that we're going to put up, and we'll just plug in the price point for the tonnage into the program. That'll tell us where we're at. So we already know kind of where our break even is on it with our watering costs and our input costs. So if we can price above that, quoting the hay out, that's what we'll start looking at doing. And we play a game of averages. It's never one home run number. So when I say we're tracking on spreadsheets, we might have 3 different price points. And then the average, we plug that number into Simple Farms. and that's telling us right where we're at. So the program itself doesn't track all your contracting and everything. There are programs out there, I've seen them, and so they're just another tool for the toolbox.
It gives you your numbers and then you can go from there and comparing those
Yeah,
numbers.
and in the analysis, there's just an underlying number right there, price, and you just can go in and edit that price. You can go for $5.30 for a bushel of corn to 5.45, plug it in, and automatically regenerates your margin levels and where your profitability is.
Nice and easy then for sure.
It is. It is.
What kind of feedback are you getting right now, or what kind of questions are you getting right now? I know I ask you that almost every time, but I always feel like if one of your interested parties or your users has a question and a lot of others have the same question.
Yeah, I think the biggest one that's been a lot of fun the last couple of weeks, it's been pretty silent out there. Julie does a great job of reaching out to everybody. Hey, any questions, any input, please reach out to us. I think the biggest request is making the program editable in every feature on the web version. We were having dialogue with the development team about doing that eventually instead of submitting your operations on your phone. Not a big deal. The fun one the last couple of weeks is we're hearing from customers that we had a little trouble adopting the program right off the bat, actually entering all their information. And now to the point that they've told us they can't run their operation without us. So that's been a lot of fun. That's a neat input when you're hearing guys say that that's just such a big feature of their farm using the Simple Farms program.
Well, that's got to make you feel good knowing you're helping people and especially being a creator of the app. Scott, what is next for you and the farm?
Getting ready to make insurance decisions on our wheat, what our coverage levels will be. So we'll be plugging that in, whether we go an enterprise unit based on our fields or if we go option unit and then what the premiums are going to be. So we'll run those scenarios for next year's wheat crop in the Simple Farms program. Corn, I can see us probably picking corn here in the next 2 weeks. Mainly insurance strips is what it looks like. The irrigated, we'll be able to pick that, but that'll be about a month from now yet. Those are the kind of the big things. Simple Farms also, we are going out. We're working with Locust. We've designed the wireframes and we're presenting to them for tracking all your carbon structure on your farm. And that's a big feature that we want to build into the program. Ask the questions and be able to set it up so you have the data collection for the carbon markets.
I remember you mentioning that. I'm glad you brought that up here today. So when will you have more information on where that's going to go?
Probably in a couple months, once we slow down and we can hit the road and go meet with Locust and get final approval on it, then we'll have that designed and developed hopefully by spring. That's kind of the game plan. So I'll have more on that here in about a couple months.
Yeah. And then have you had a lot of people asking you to have that in the app or wondering if that's going to be a part of the app in the future?
The ones that are doing the carbon market would like to see it. People that haven't gotten involved in that industry, no, nobody's, they just aren't even aware of what's all entailed in doing that. There's not much value right now in the carbon market, but I still feel strongly you better get your toes in the water. I'm very concerned that eventually we're going to be like Canada, where they're actually taxed on the carbon emission off their farms. I would like to have it where we at least have an offset so we're not getting taxed for carbon emissions. It's just one of those things I feel like I want to be ready and prepared. And if it never comes, we at least got good books and good data.
Yeah, from what I can tell in doing some interviews and talking to folks across the country, there's your camp that's getting prepared and knows that is probably the way of the future. And then the other camp is waiting to see how folks like you are doing with it and handling it and watching to see where the carbon markets and farming are going from here.
Yeah, that's correct. I know a lot of people, they hear that there's going to be better payouts down the road. There could be. I would hope there are. It's really up in the air. And a lot of it's going to be policy structure down the road here.
Anything else you want to mention here today?
I would just like to have some rain, some moisture. We are super dry. I didn't have to travel far to really see some fantastic fields. I got a chance to go up I went to the Farm Progress Show there north of Des Moines. And prior to that, I went to an aerial spraying operation where they were working with a lot of drones, and the entity's called Kelly Hills, and they invited me up to that. And that was really neat to see some of the new drones coming out. I mean, big drones to be able to spray your fields and data collect. Really some neat technology coming out there. And it was fun to go up into that country. I call it paradise, just beautiful cornfields and soybean fields. There's some beautiful fields out there, and the production I think is definitely going to be out there this year. So the market prices are not going to be very exciting.
Well, thank you for your time here today. Thank you for all the farm updates and the Simple Farms app updates. What is the website for more information on this margin analysis tool?
Yes, it's simplefarms.ag. Come check us out. And we are actually meeting with the team here in a couple hours to update our webpage. So check it out now. There'll be some big updates coming on there.
All right. I know your customer service is superb. So folks who have further questions can always reach out easily and you're going to get an answer right away.
Absolutely.
Scott, you have a good day. Be safe out there as you continue into harvest.
Thanks, Lori. Appreciate it. We will be. You have a good one yourself.
Once again, Scott Scheimer, he is the owner and founder, creator of the Simple Farms LLC app, which is a margin analysis tool, and is also the owner and operator of Scheimer Farms in Cheyenne Wells, Colorado. I'm Lori Boyer.